What is going on, guys? This is Fearless here, and I'm going to be uploading this on my personal account and a Los Bros account, which is an account I'm doing with my friends, just to do a bunch of stuff together. It's going to be gameplay, a bunch of other stuff. But anyway, I'm going to be making a custom card because a bunch of people have been asking me, how do you make your custom cards? And I just thought it'd be a lot easier just to show everyone how to make them, how to make custom cards. So this is going to be a quick tutorial, and basically what I'm starting out doing is going to go File, New, 850 by 850, a transparent background. Alright, so I'm just starting by making a rectangle here, just making it black, showing you how some people go out making the outline of their card. Now I make it a little bit differently, so I'll just show you what happens here. So you just draw the line down, and then as you're drawing the line, you get a good first start line, but then you pick the red, the stroke, and then you gotta go through all that stuff, and you get a really thin line, and it's just hard to deal with. So, as you can see, I'm gonna draw an X here on the screen telling you that this is not the way I do it. This is how some people do it, and personally, I just don't like it. So, my way of doing it is kind of different. So, we're gonna scratch all that, and we're gonna go to PowerPoint actually. And in PowerPoint, there's actually a shape tool that allows you to make the exact shape that you need, perfect outline and everything, and it looks pretty good. So I think it freezes up here for a second. Alright, so I've got all these grid lines on there. I was just working on something the other day. So just delete all those out if you have them on there by going to grid lines. Just take all that out. Alright, so then on the top, under the drawing toolbar, you'll see a shape under rectangles. It is the fifth one over, I believe. So you're just gonna scroll over to the shape you need. You obviously can change that. You're gonna drag the yellow dot over on the right side, and the one from the left, drag it over to the right a little bit. So you're gonna get the basic shape you need. So you're gonna go to Shape Fill and add No Fill, which will make it a PNG, and you'll need that. But so you're gonna go to Weight. You can go to 4.5 or 6. Doesn't really matter which one. I'm gonna try 4.5 here first, but then I'm gonna realize that I just don't like how it turns out when I get it back to Photoshop. So you'll see in a second. It messes up all the formatting and stuff. So what you're gonna do is, if you like the way it looks, you're just gonna wanna right click on it and then click Save as Picture. Alright, and make sure on the bottom it says PNG, which is a portable network graphics format, which allows it to have transparent background. So I'm going to make a new folder, and just going to call it Tutorial. Alright, so I'm going to save that in there, call it Outline, and then I'm going to open it up and bring it into Photoshop. Alright, so we're going to new 850 by 850. I just like that size, that's what I usually use. And so we're going to open up the picture and go to the folder that you saved it in, and then go to Tutorials, Outline, and open it. So as you can see, the two corner edges just didn't really turn out as good as I thought they would be. So I'm going to drag it in there, see if I can fix it anyway. So I'm just going to drag that down, so you toss it in there, hit yes, and then I'm just going to close that, and then open up, or not open up, go to the select tool, right click, click free transform, and then that allows you to basically size it any way you want. And so yeah, I was just getting it near the center, and so basically just didn't like how it was turning out. So I'm gonna go back to PowerPoint and just double click on that, make the weight 6 point, which is what I usually use. I just thought 4.5 was just be a little better for some reason. Make it a little smaller, save that as a picture, and bring that into Photoshop. A little fish background there, and then from Photoshop I'm just going to open the picture, which is, I think it looks a little bit better, but once I get in it looks even better. So the corners just did exactly what I wanted to do with this side. Alright, so bring it to size. Yeah, and it's basically all your preference. I mean, you could put a Madden card up in the corner and work off of there, but I mean, it is a custom card, so yeah. So when you find the size you want, click the check mark on the top, and then you're going to take the selector tool, go all the way from the top corner and select everything, and then you're going to go to your layer that you want to move, and at the top go to the move tool and collect the center tool, and from the top, middle, and the middle. So then we're going to create a new folder and call it the outline. Alright, and then we're going to drag in the layer to the outline folder and just hide that. So now that we've got the outline done, so we're going to take a fill tool and go right into a black background, but I have 43% opacity on the layer, so I figured that out quickly. So I'm going to toss that to 100, and then there you can see that it looks nice. Alright, now obviously we're not going to keep this black background because we got to add the shadows, the numbers, and a bunch of different stuff. So we are going to go to the paint bucket and paint it white. Alright, and then I'm going to start working on the shadows here. So now there are a couple different ways that you can do the shadows. You can use the paintbrush tool, or you can use the gradient tool. I started using the paint tool and thought, this might work, as I thought it was going to work. And then thought, it's not really working how I want it to work. But then I end up going to the gradient tool, and then I end up going back to the paintbrush tool, because that's what I usually use as a paintbrush tool. So what you want to do is you're going to want to get the soft brush and go about 225 for the size, and you're just going to slide it over. See, that looked a little bit big, and something was going on with my monitor. It's not doing that anymore, but as I was recording the video, it's just these weird black blobs, but I think I got it fixed now. So as we go on, this is just a rough thing, just showing you. I didn't really like it, so I deleted that layer, and I hit Control-Shift-N to add a new layer. I'm going to drag that over, or you can go up to the layer tool, new layer, and there you go. So drag that under the outline, alright, and then we are going to just, see now it's doing the little black thing at the bottom. I don't know why it was doing that. So as you see, I zoom in to look at that, I just didn't know what was going on. But then, I took that out, so I'm like, let's try the gradient tool. I had a brain fart here, could not find where it was, but then found it in the paint bucket. And then you click to the black shadow. You should have that defaulted. So now there's a couple different ways you can do the outline, or not the shadow for it. I started out using the dot one, and it just did not want to play right, I guess, play fair. So then I go to File, Save for Web just to see how it looks, and see, it looks fine on there. So I did not know what was going on. Figured out it was just something weird with my monitor. So that's why it might be doing it on the recording too. So there's a horizontal bar also for the gradient. So I tried this one and just did not want to work for me. That one didn't want to work, so I'm like, you know what? Screw it. I'm using the brush tool. So then I just start using the brush tool and keep brushing, and yeah. So basically, it's all up to you, and it's all preference, really, because I mean, no matter what you do, it's gonna look good. It doesn't look good right now because I obviously have to go back and erase it, but you just gotta look at the inside of the outline. So what you want to do is take the eraser, make sure you're on the hard brush, and just get it to about 90 size or something. Just come around the outside, erase it, and you can see it just starts to form what the card is actually gonna look like. So I like to zoom in, make sure I'm on the red line, don't want to go over because then you just have a bad quality card. See, like I went over there, just redo that by hitting Control-Shift-Z, which just goes a step backwards. That's why I have the history tab up to the right. I sometimes have it on, and sometimes take it off, but anyway, you just go around the outline, make sure there's nothing jutting outside the outline, and just go from that. And see, I went over a little bit there, just redo it. If you redo it once, I mean, you won't have to go back ever later. So I take that off so I can finish that a little bit on the top. So just go around the whole edge, clean everything up, make it look nice. I mean, it's custom cards. Sometimes people pay for these, and they're going to want to get a good product. So I personally do not charge for my custom cards because I just feel like I don't know if my cards are good enough yet to be paid for, but I don't know, I just like to make a quality product, and I just don't do anything fast, I guess. So I just keep coming along here and just get the whole edge done and erased and cleaned up and looking nice. So another thing what I'm doing is you can see I'm zooming out with just my scroll wheel, and a way you can do that is it is under Edit Preferences. Then I think it should be under Default Preferences, and it says Zoom with Scroll Wheel, and check that. I just like doing that because it gets you a quick zoom in and out. You don't have to go to the little zoom tool, or you don't have to hold Alt, I think it is, or anything. But when you hold Alt with the zoom with scroll wheel, it allows you to zoom up and down. It does not let you zoom side to side. Alright, so we're gonna save this and call this shadow, and I'm pretty happy with how it turned out, but I just didn't know what was going on down there, so I go back to save for web, and then just did not know what was going on. Saw a little bit of a bump right there, and I just did not like it. So what I actually did is I just erased it all, redid it. I did it a couple times, so I cut out the video here, and I'll come back when I have a new one done. Alright. Okay, so now I'm back and made a new one. Did not like how that one turned out either. It was just too much of a shadow. So I just took it all out. I thought, oh, maybe I could fix it by just using a small eraser. Get down in there, but then there was a hard edge there. But I'm like, oh, I can fix this with a soft erase tool. So you can just get a soft erase tool, and it left a nice little line there. And I don't know, I just did not like how it was turning out. So I paused the video here. I just got frustrated, so I'm gonna stop the video and then come back when I have it all finished. Okay, so now that you have your finished shadows, and you see they're smaller than they were, but there's a little part in the top left-hand corner, I don't know if you can tell, where it just juts out a little bit. I don't know how it got to that. I don't know how I didn't catch that, but I catch it eventually, and you'll see how I fix that. So anyway, we are going to create a new layer and just pick a nice blue color just so you can get some contrast with the red. So we're going to get the fill tool, and I try to find it here, or paint bucket actually. So then you can tell the part in the top left-hand corner just stands out a little bit more. But anyway, so now we got to work on the lines. The lines in the bottom left, top right, and top left. There's 3 spots for the lines. And I think the lines make the card almost, because if you don't have the lines, it just looks bad. So what you want to do is grab the line tool, drag it over, make sure you're on 0 degrees. And I like to drag it over a little bit less than 3/4, but a little bit over halfway. So maybe, I don't know, like 5/8 or something like that. So I make the fill of it white, just because, I don't know, it is really gray, but the white stands out more and it looks a little bit better. Alright, so it's okay if it goes over the red line a little bit, because we can fix that by just moving it over, moving it down. So you're going to click on the layer and grab the move tool and just move it to how you like. And it's pretty much all about preference for this. So we're going to make another line tool, and we're going to zoom in nice and close so you can see the pixelation. So you click on the last one, and I like to go around like 35-ish degrees for this one. It can be higher, it can be lower, but I don't want to go any lower than 35. That's just personal preference. So now you're going to right click with the select tool, grab the free transform, and I even brought it a little bit more than 35. Just didn't like how it was turning out. But you want to make sure those line up really nice, so you got a nice crisp angle to that. Don't want anything hanging out or anything. So make it a little bit bigger, bring it down, zoom in, make sure it's lined up perfectly, because it's just, yeah. Alright, had a little bit of a cutout there, but so just want to get it to preference how you like it. It's about you, but you want it to look real too. So you're gonna, I didn't like how far it jut out, just so I forgot about with the line, so brought it back to about halfway through, then free transformed the other one and brought it over. Then I zoomed in, made sure it all lined up, grabbed the move tool, lined it up, and it was looking pretty good, and I liked it. So to make the circle, actually I add the little fade effect on it. So you're going to grab a soft eraser, go to about 76 pixels, and what you're going to want to do is you're going to click on the layer, and it'll say as we transforms to rasterize or shape. So what you want to do is make sure you're on the big line shape, and then just quick check that it is grabbing the move tool, moving it around, hit escape so it doesn't move it. So then grab the erase tool, set it on a soft erase for about 76 pixels for the size. Click on it and hit OK. So now it's not no longer a shape, but just slide it over a little bit. So you get a nice little fade effect to that, and it looks pretty nice. So now what you're going to want to do is probably move that over a little bit, but I don't think I moved it over right away. But you want to rename those by just double clicking where it says shape 2 or shape 1, and I call them big line, small line, call it whatever you really want to call it, as long as you know which one's which. Alright, so now for the little circle, it's under the shape ellipse tool, my bad. And what you're going to do is to make it a circle, you're going to want to make sure where it says the width, the W and the H, make sure those two are equal, so that makes it an exact circle. So then you want to drag it in there, and then you're going to click back on the little circle, and just go up top, no fill, and then stroke, make that white or whatever color you did it, and then I usually do 1 point, around 1 point for that, and just typed in 1 here. But once you have that 1 point on there, and it looks nice, I'm like, it needs to be a little bit bigger, so I free transform it. You can free transform almost anything, shape, whatever. You just want to make sure that for a circle, that the two are equal. So now it's just a little bit, you want to make sure that these line up so you kind of count the pixels, and it just wasn't really working out that well for me at first, but I got it eventually, just playing with it. That's what you're going to do with most of the things on here, is you're going to do it one way, and it's not going to look good, and then you're going to fix it, and that's all you really do. Because this wasn't coming in at a 45-degree angle, I had to put it a little lower than usual. Yeah. So I finally got it to how I like it. And so I'm going to call that the circle. And then what you're going to want to do is just make a folder and call it bottom detail. Just so it's all organized and nice and neat. So on the bottom there's a folder tool, just call it bottom detail, bottom accents, same thing. So you're going to just click on the big line and then hold shift and click on the next one and then put them in. But then you're always going to want to keep the outline on top, and I'll tell you later on in the video why you do that. But then I'm just going to make a new group, or new folder again, just call it shadows, drag that in there, just so it's all nice and neat. And call it shadows 1, because you might need more than one shadow for, I don't know. I'm zooming out, looking good, so I'm going to make the rest of those and fix up the little dash on the side, top left. Alright, so I'll be back. Okay, so now I added the top left little detail line. I like how it turned out. I'm just showing you to remind you that 76 soft brush, just coming not too fast, just coming nice and slow. Get a nice little fade and effect, and it looks pretty nice. So what you're going to do is, if you need to move them all, just click one, hold shift, click the bottom one, move it up, move it wherever you need to be. They'll all move together as long as they're all selected. Alright. So I'm going to make a folder for that, and then call it that. Then I'm showing that you still got to get the one for the numbers and the position. Alright, so I'm going to fix the detail little gradient thing right there, and then I'll come back when that's done. Alright, so I ended up fixing that and got that all fixed. So now I'm just going to walk you through this next little line one, because this is probably the most difficult line of them all, just because you want to get the placement of it correctly. Okay, so you're going to want to make sure that's filled in white. I had it filled in black because I was fixing something. And then, so what you're going to want to do is get it about 3/4 to the bottom of the gradient, same thing. And then I like to get this one around a 145 degree for the start, and then free transform it, get it to my liking, and then, yeah, you use it from there, I guess, and just go to your liking, pretty much. So, I was liking how this one is looking, and so I went to add the ellipse or circle, so I just went in advance, had no fill, white outline, and it actually changed the line, but it didn't change it into the bad. So I made the circle, put one size, and put that on there, and it was like how it turned out. So yeah. Okay, so now that we have the three little accent details nearly finished, just gotta erase a little bit on with our soft brush, and just going nice and slow and erase soft bit. Then I realized, oh, I was on the wrong big line because I never actually made the folder for the other one. So I go make the folder for the other one, call that top right accents, but then I realized that that's not top right, that's actually top left, so I have to go and fix that. So I'm fix that and make that top left accents. Alright, and then just hide the contents. Oops. So then we're gonna go to the outline, drag that to the top again, because you always want to keep the outline on top. Because if you don't have the outline on top, you'll see all the little bad corners and stuff. So you always want the outline on top. So I go and rename everything that's on the inside of the folder that's going to be the top right accents. So now I know which one's the big line, so I'm going to use my soft erase tool and just erase it slightly. Alright, so now that I erased it to how I like it, it's all looking good. We got all the accents finished, just went and checked. All looking good, so I make the next folder, call it top right accents, and then we're going to go from there. Alright, click one and hold shift to click the next, or you can drag them in one by one. Alright. Okay, so now we're going to work on the number. And basically the whole font scheme of the card is in aromatics, and if you don't know how to get new fonts, go to dufonts.com. I'll put a link in the description, and then search it up, aromatics. So what you're going to do is make sure it's on white, and you're going to put it just under the outline. So then just type it in, then you can highlight that, go back. In the top, the number is aromatics display light. Alright, so I'm going to go to 72 point, and then like, that's a little bit too small, so made it about 90. Alright, so then that still was not tall enough, so you can actually free transform text and then still type in it. So I go through there, click on the select tool. Alright, right click, free transform, and just make it a little bit taller and a little bit wider, but more taller than wide. And select, and then I'll zoom out and see it looks pretty nice. And so now I'm going to show you, I'm going to get the right font up for the position. Okay, so now we're going to work on the position of the player. So the font is aromatics, just regular aromatics, so you're going to want to click new text box, go to aromatics, comes up as the top one for me, and just type in, I think I'm going to do Adrian Peterson for this card, so I'm going to type in HB for halfback, or do RB for running back, but I think they're all in halfbacks now, but so you go there, and then you gotta try to get the color perfectly. It took me a little bit to find out what the actual color is, so didn't like that one, that's too dark, too light. I'm just gonna get it, so I'm gonna pause the video, come back when I got the right color code, and you can see I'm highlighting that down there, tell you what the color code actually is. Okay, so I figured out the color code, and the color code is FF8401, that's FF8401. So you're just gonna type that in down there, and that should give you the right color. Alright, so now it's looking pretty good, kinda looking like a Madden card. The shadows in the bottom, I don't know, that's a little messed up, but it'll look all nice once you get the players in there. So now, you're gonna want to make sure you're on left line, white, when typing in the first name. The first name is Aromatics or just Aromatics Light, my bad. And so I'm gonna type in Adrian. Alright, and then I'm going to move that down a little bit, and then The size I like to use is, I tested out 48, that's a little too big, so I think I go to 40. Yeah, 40. So I zoom in, line it up, and what I like to do is when it just starts to get white, that's where I like to start the name, and I drag it up a little higher than you expect it to be, because when you zoom out, just scrunches them really close. So then for the last name, it's Aromatics Regular, and type in Peterson. But then I usually do is I make it a little bit bigger by putting it 44, just to make it have more emphasis. So what I like to do is line up the names so they start at the same exact spot. So I zoom in close enough so you can see the pixels, but not so close. So get that in there, and it's looking pretty good. So now we need the player itself, team logo, and then the Madden 25 years logo on the top left. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a group or a folder and just call it player name or name. Then you're going to drag Adrian and Peterson into that folder, and then hide the contents. Then you're going to make another group or folder and call that position / overall. And then from there, you can drag those two into the folder. Alright, so now I'm going to show you how to get the player and the top left logo, which is the Madden 25 logo, and the team logo. So you're going to open up Chrome, Firefox, whatever you use for a browser. So open that up, and then just when it comes up, just go to Google and images and just type in Madden 25 logo. As you type it in, type it pretty slow. So Madden logo, I see this one, it's just not giving me a PNG file, so I've actually, this one just didn't want to load, so I actually go to the top and just type in Madden 25 logo PNG, and that didn't want to work for me either, so I'm going to show you guys how to remove the background of anything really, but logos are pretty easy because they all have sharp edges or crisp edges, so just save whichever one is more of a square, I guess. And then I just went down to double check, make sure there wasn't a PNG. Did not find one. So I went back, saved it into my tutorial folder. And then on the bottom in Chrome, you should click open. Alright, so what you want to do is you need the quick selection tool. In the size, you're going to want to get around 70, 50, whatever, and just go around selecting it, and then what you want to do is unlock the background by double clicking on that and just hitting enter, and then you're going to take out the eraser, make sure you're on a hard eraser brush, and go about 100, probably even 200 pixels for the size, and then just erase it all. And then what I like to do is give it a double check, and I saw right there, it took out the little gray around the NFL logo. So I hit Control Shift Z and then grab the selection tool, held Alt for minus to unselect stuff because it actually had that stuff selected. So then I thought I could fix that up already there, but actually for my other template I have stuff in there, so I'm just gonna X this out and show you guys how to add a picture in. Alright, so now I've got the Madden 25 logo up in the top, and if you need to resize it, just right click with the selection tool, the dotted square, and then hit free transform and move that. So I like to make a folder and call it top left logo, because for like golden tickets and stuff like that, you have to have the golden ticket logo up there. Alright, so now we're going to work on the player and the team logo. So type in Vikings logo PNG. Most NFL logos have them, but I know some don't. So I had to click there because it's got that weird pop-up. And just save the image as, doesn't matter really. Open that up. So then I tried to just drag it right in, but then the color was in index mode. So how you fix that is by going into image in the top bar, mode, and just go to RGB. So now you can click and drag that over, hit yes, and you're going to right click and free transform and get that down to size. And if you ever accidentally click on that middle thing, if you go into the top left under file, just click that little middle thing. It'll move it back to the middle. Alright, so just get it down to size, and it's okay if it hangs over a little bit like that. So you're going to drag it under the outline, alright, and then you're going to create a new folder, call that Team Logo, and drag that in there, call the name of the team Vikings. Alright, so then I take out the eraser, make sure you're on a hard eraser, not too big though, otherwise it'll be hard to get it in detail. And then you're just going to scroll down, erase all the stuff that hangs out from the outline. Alright, and then you're going to right click on the layer, blending options, and you can edit the opacity there, or you can go right to the sidebar. And I like to bring it to a 75 for some logos, but this one is pretty bright logo, so I brought it to 60, I think. So I just makes the logo darker, but doesn't take out color, because you want to keep the color in there. So you can still identify that it's a Vikings logo, so that's good. So I'm just going to type in Adrian Peterson, and then just go to images, and you want to find an image where pretty much his whole body's in there, standing up straight. So I just found a quick one. I didn't find the best image, but it'll work for a tutorial video. So you're going to slide down, just drag that over, hit yes, and then you can X out that. So you can see it's a little bit small for the size that I want to use, but that's okay. So I can free transform that, bring to size, and you can see it just didn't want to fit that well, so I just made it a little bit bigger. You never want to make the player taller or fatter, you just want to make the picture fit nice and good. So you're always gonna, I forgot to drag it under the shadow, so I drag it back under the shadow. Alright, so then the shadow goes over the player, and you can see that it hangs out a little bit. So what you're going to do is make a new folder, call it player, and then drag the player layer in there, call it Adrian Peterson or AP, and then take out the eraser tool, and it should still be on hard, but if not, make it a little bit bigger, and just go around the outside, erasing the outside edge of the paper, or not the paper, the player, my bad. Alright, so I'm just going to go around the outside. Alright, so as I'm just erasing this, I'm just going to talk about what Los Bros kind of is. It's just a group of me and my friends. We're just going to upload some stuff. Nothing serious, but I'm going to mostly use my personal channel just because, I don't know, I like more of the graphic sides. But I am getting a Elgato soon, so I'll be able to upload gameplay videos, and that will be fun. Alright. So then, once you get the player in there, I have this thing called Topaz Adjust. I torrented it. It usually costs $60, but you don't have to get this. This is just a little bit more of an advanced thing that you can do. Just add a little bit of effect to the player. Now, usually for the regular MUT 25 cards, you don't need to have any kind of effect on the player, and I'll just show you it looks a little bit brighter with it, and it just brings out a little bit more detail, and I just like it a little better. But nothing too serious. So now we've got the card pretty much done, and in the later videos I'll show how to add more details like backgrounds, the chemistries on the side. That's going to be the next video, adding the chemistries. And yeah, so we're going to build a really nice custom card. Alright, so now we have the first part of the custom card done. In the next videos I'll be showing you how to add more details like I just said. And yeah, thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.